1, 2, 3, 4. Those are numbers, but you already knew that. If you want to know what number you're going to pay each month for your car, use Kelley Blue Book My Wallet on Auto Trader. They're really good at numbers. Auto Trader.
Hello and welcome to Unequal Sequel
Extra!
We're doing it a bit of a funny way round this week. If this is the first time you've listened, we don't normally do it this way round.
I was trying to be different.
Yeah. So, Dave, do you want to tell the listeners why we're doing it this funny way round? See, look, I can ask the questions and put you on the spot now.
No, it's true, but I can tell them why, because someone went and got COVID again.
Yeah. And that someone was me. I'm sorry. So what are we doing this podcast on, Dave?
Oh, quickly going over that, are we?
Yeah.
We are, when we say we, I mean I am reviewing The Secrets of Dumbledore, the third instalment of the Fantastic Beasts franchise.
So what I should say is that I was very against watching this movie because I do not agree with the writer's political views. I mean, just her horrible views about trans people. Essentially, I just don't agree with what she says. So I wasn't really happy about giving her any money. Turns out, the universe did it for me and gave me COVID for the third time, by the way, so that I did not have to go and watch this movie.
There's a running joke that if anyone's listened to, Rich is always ill.
I know. Where's this come from? Like, because we record in batches, because especially the interview episodes, we record them in batches. Like, it just sounds like I'm ill all the time. Because my meal went on the day that we do those, when we do, especially the intros and the outros and stuff. It just sounds like I'm always ill. And I think maybe I am. Maybe I'm just always ill. Maybe that's what being 40 is all about.
You've had a rough start this year with illnesses.
It's not been my favourite.
Because you had the bad back as well.
Yeah. So I had COVID, then I had a bad back, then I had COVID again, and then I've got COVID again. Oh, shit. You know how you're not supposed to be able to get COVID? Like 3 months after you've had it. Turns out that's not true. I had it in February and now it's April and I've got it. So, hey, there we are.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so we are doing Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore. Mm-hmm. Is it Secrets of Dumbledore? I don't even know.
It is the Secrets of Dumbledore, yeah.
So, yeah, Dave, tell us the plot.
He's been waiting to ask that all day, because normally that's my question. Can I just quickly say that I'm also against the woman's views?
Yes, yeah.
Well, only money I've paid is towards my cinema monthly Limitless card. I didn't pay any extra to go see this in IMAX or anything. I'm
still going to donate to a trans rights charity.
That's a lovely idea.
I can. So there we go.
Okay, so we've got that out of the way. So yes, this is The Secret of Dumbledore, which carries on from The Crimes of Grindelwald. And the end of Crimes of Grindelwald, basically, Johnny Depp's Grindelwald has awoken a section of wizards that want to, take over the world and basically kill non-wizardly people.
Nazi wizards.
Let's call them Nazi wizards. And when we come for this one, Johnny Depp has gone. We'll go into that. Mads Mikkelsen turns up playing Grindelwald as well. And he kind of is they're making more of a push to run the wizardry world, as in they're going for government and whatever, and they're getting more people to the cause. Basically, there's a team, Albus Dumbledore, I should say in this, gets a team together to bring down Grindelwald and his team, his subjects.
Yeah.
And it's got Newt's back in there. We've got Jacob, the baker, the non-magical person. We've got some other faces that return from the other films that you don't really care about, so I probably won't mention them, to be honest. You don't really get Catherine Waterston, Tina's character. Queenie does turn up. And it's carrying on that story. And I have to say, I thought it was better than the second one, but I didn't quite enjoy it as much as the first one.
So first question. Who cares?
Well, that is the first question. Does it do enough to make you care?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is probably not. It hasn't got the following that Harry Potter has. Basically, Potter had that legion of fans before the films came out, wasn't it? It was a massive book.
Yeah.
So, and the world had already been built for a lot of people. We've gone into Fantastic Beasts, which I originally thought was going to be about the Fantastic Beasts, and they've kind of fudged this other element, stories, world, characters around these beasts, and it hasn't quite, I would say, gelled.
No.
And I don't think any of the films are that good, as in they don't really work for a full runtime. There's nothing about them that think, oh, that's like Harry Potter kind of thing. Like in the first one, they were, oh, you can see how the American side of wizardry works. And that was fun. And then in the second one, you kind of get to Paris. And then in this one, you kind of go a bit of everywhere. But it's still not very magical.
Yeah, I spoke to my wife about this because she's a really big Harry Potter fan. Obviously, that's been tainted slightly, but yeah, she was a really big Harry Potter fan, and she's never liked any of the Fantastic Beasts, and her main complaint is they're just not magical enough. They just don't have that spark. They're not well written enough that they feel important.
Probably because J.K. Rowling had a hand in writing the scripts. And I think more on this one, they've let another screenwriter take over a little bit. So this one it does feel like it's a smoother transaction of a film. But it is also quite not as clunky as Crimes of Grindelwald. And this one does have its moments, but then you're just wondering where certain characters are, and then certain characters are there, and you think, why are you there?
Yeah.
But I think Jude Law's great as Albus Dumbledore. I even think Eddie Redmayne is growing into this new character, finally, by a few films. Would I go and see another one? Is there a possibility for a fourth one? Yes, because I think we discussed and we thought this was the final instalment.
So I've read both. I've read one saying that like Warners have cut their losses and said, right, we're not making 4 and 5. And then I've also read like 4 and 5 are all ready to go, basically. So.
I think they're all ready to go if this one does well. And the reports you read are like, oh, it's only made a certain amount in America. But then we are talking about a post-pandemic world. A lot of China's still shut. Russia, again, obviously is not getting it for good reasons. But when you talk about the China situation, is that they've cut all gay references out from Grindelwald and Dumbledore, which is it's huge for the story, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's a film that exists. And
that is high praise.
Because the only reason I went to watch this, like you said, there's views of her that lots of other people have worked on this film. So it is other people's living. So you've kind of got to balance up. And there's the cases for and against that you shouldn't be supporting her.
It's separating the art from the artist and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? But
yes.
Which is easier to do when the art is good.
Exactly. I mean, it's not a complete car wreck. There is fun stuff in here. It's very much like a heist movie. It's like kind of like an Ocean's 11. We get the team together and we got to go and do this thing. Mads Mikkelsen replaces Johnny Depp, who they pushed out for other reasons. Mads Mikkelsen, they don't. I was wondering how they're going to deal with here's the change of his face. Yeah. They don't.
No. They do like a Neighbours and just pretend that it never happened.
Yes.
Like just pretend it's the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mads Mikkelsen plays it much, much differently to Johnny Depp. And I think in a good way, because Mads Mikkelsen can do this in his sleep. This. And he's very much... Because in the other ones, these people have been drawn to Grindelwald for certain reasons, like his charm. And I never quite got that from the Johnny Depp character. I always found him more creepy than charming and alluring. Mads Mikkelsen, I would follow into a war. I think I get it. He's much more of a charming. You can see why magical people want to join the cause and go the bad way.
Yeah. So we've talked obviously about like the slightly clunky things. What's good about the movie? What did you enjoy?
Well, I enjoyed Dan Fogel. Is that his name? Jacob. And I think that storyline with him and Queenie, you're like, which doesn't know.
I can't remember what his name is. Sorry, it is Fogel, but I can't remember what his first name is.
I think it's Dan, and his name is Jacob Kowalski.
Yeah.
And his story with Queenie about going to get his one love who's joined Grindelwald's cause because she thinks, I'm not still quite sure if she knew what she was joining up for, to be honest. She thought somehow not a magical person could be with a non-magical person, but that is exactly what he's fighting against. So I'm not quite, they still don't explain how she did that. That's fun. There are some fun set pieces. Newt and his brother, Theseus by Callum Turner. Yeah, there's a prison breakout that's a fun sequence. And there's a lot of traveling from here, and so they keep going away from Hogwarts and then back to Hogwarts. And I tell you what, when the Harry Potter music kicks in, it gets very exciting. You think, oh, that is a great theme, isn't it?
It is, yeah. John Williams at his best, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the only piece of music I can remember in this whole film.
Oh dear. And Ezra Miller back in it because he's had some problems. Like,
do you know what? From the very start, I thought it was going to be built around Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
And in this one, he's not really the main focal of it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I thought there would be a big old... I can tell you, I thought the ending was so disappointing.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's been building up to certain moments. Like you think these people are going to get together and it's going to be a big old showdown. You think, oh, I can't wait until these people like face off against each other. And when it gets to that moment, it's like, is that it? Is that all we're getting? And now after that, you think, well, I kind of want to watch another one to see if they can actually fulfill what they're trying to do with these characters. Yeah. Disappointingly, oh man, I'm making it sound like it is not a brilliant movie. I have to say I had low expectations going in because Grindelwald, the previous one was so bad.
Was it better than you thought it was going to be, though?
It's definitely, yes, because the second one is so clunky. I watched it previously when watching this one, and the last 20 minutes of that film are just horrible. There's certain bit when all the characters are at the same point and they don't explain where half of them come from. They're just there. This one's a little bit smoother, the transition. What is Newt's sidekick? Bunty gets a much bigger role because Catherine Waterston's Tina is not in it. They do explain where she is.
Okay.
She's now in charge of the American side of the wizardry world.
Oh.
Their police force. You can see I'm a massive fan, guys, of Harry Potter, and I know all the spells.
Yeah.
And they do miss her. And because Eddie Redmayne's Newt still is meant to have this crush on her, and it'd be so much better if, well, they were playing off against each other instead of him looking at a picture every 20 minutes.
Do we know why that was? Is that a stylistic choice, or did she not want to be in it, or what's the...
I think, well, I don't know for certain. It doesn't say in the film, annoyingly, but she was probably contracted to be in this movie, and she's probably she has been quite vocal against she who can't be named.
Right, okay.
So to squeeze her in, they do something to get her in to oblige that contract. Now, if she's signed to any more, I don't know how many. Yeah. You normally sign to a trilogy or whatever, a certain number.
Well, if they planned 5 from the start, then you'd want to sign everyone up for 5, wouldn't you?
You would think so, but certain characters are just not needed anymore.
So what about Richard Coyle as Aberforth? So we know that we know he's in exclusively in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything there. But
no,
because I haven't seen it anyway.
His storyline actually works.
Okay,
and you can kind of, in the 8th Harry Potter film and book, whatever it is, that the tensions are quite... Well, the brothers don't like each other, do they?
No, yeah. Aberforth, yeah.
And you find more about their history of why and what happened. And there's certain things that come out that my wife, who's a massive Harry Potter fan, she found really interesting.
Okay.
So there is something there for fans, I guess. But yeah, he's great. But he's always going to be Jeff from Coupling.
He is always going to be Jeff from Coupling, yeah. For a certain generation of people, like, he will always be Jeff.
Yeah, who gets excited about a country that's called Lesbos because he thinks it's full of lesbians.
That's very 90s.
Some of it's held up really well, Coupling, and some of it is not.
No.
But I still love it.
That's the same with a lot of 90s stuff, right?
Yeah. Behaving badly, 40 Towers, anything like that, really.
Spaced, even.
Spaced, even probably some of The Office.
A fair bit of Spaced, really, where I've watched it and gone, oh, no, can't do that. Anyway, so the big question, is it an Unequal sequel?
It is unequal. It's been a hell of a ride, these 3 films.
Yeah.
And if someone said to me there won't be a 4th one, I'd be like, oh, okay. And if someone says there's going to be a 4th one, I'd be like, oh, okay. It is better than the second one, sorry. I don't think it's as good as the first one, because the first one is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. There's no point calling these Fantastic Beasts and then some bullshit.
Are there any beasts in it? That's the question.
There are some beasts in it.
Okay.
There is more roles for the Niffler, who gets a name this time. He's actually called Teddy.
Oh, okay.
And Pickett, they've got a much more prominent role. They actually do stuff. What else is there? And there's some other things. There's some big crab things. There's a certain creature I can't talk about. 1, because I can't pronounce the name. But 2, it's also quite pivotal to the role.
Right, okay. So we're not going to do any spoiler in this then?
No, well, no, because then I'd have to try and remember the name of the creature and then try and explain what the creature does and why the creature's there. And God, talk about magic and so what? Yeah, it is what it is. I don't think this would be like, if you don't like the other 2, I don't think you're going to like this one. I mean, Jude Law's still very good. I think he's good casting as Dumbledore.
Yeah.
But if you're actually enjoying these films, then I think you're going to really enjoy it.
Oh, that's good. That's a good thing, though, right?
Well,
at least people can kind of, if you're fans of a movie, you can go on and know that it's a good version. Is it going to convert any new fans to the franchise, do you think?
No. I think if you're not... No, I don't think you will. I think they'll sit there and have a good time, but not a good time. They'll deal with it.
Time.
Yeah. I think they'll come out with lots of questions, and I think if you're not a Harry Potter fan, then you won't like Fantastic Beasts, because I think Potter is still better than Beasts.
Yeah.
I do hate how they keep trying to make these stories they're being force-fed. They should just sit back for a while and go, okay, this is a universe, there is a wizardry world, and at this point it feels like they're just trying to spoon us whatever they can think of quickly. If they actually take their time, maybe if they should release the books before the films, that would have built momentum.
Well, they're not doing books though, are they?
They're not. No, they're not. They're doing screenplays afterwards. What I'm saying is they should have done books.
Yeah,
because then you build momentum, and this kind of film feels like you need momentum. You need that fan base on their side. Otherwise, because I think Warner Brothers should just carry on making them, because they make so much money, not just from the films, but from everything. Merchandise must make so much money.
And the Leavesden and all that sort of, going
crazy things. They should have built momentum. They should have released the books and then made the films. And then I think it would have been more of a success.
Yeah, just tried to do it too quick.
Yeah. Did you want another film about other wizards? Set in 1927
I was
or whatever.
never really into Harry Potter because it was a bit late for me. So, it wasn't until my son came along that I even kind of watched most of it, I think. So, yeah, not massively.
Have you made him watch these ones? Made him watch?
No, he's not watched any of these ones. No, I wouldn't make him watch anything, to be honest. But, no, he's not watched these ones. But he is excited that there is other bits of the world that exist.
I mean, that is nice.
He's got to a point with the original franchise where they're a bit too scary for him now. So he's going to have to wait a little while before he watches the next few, because he's only 6.
I would say this is less scary and intense than Crimes of Grindelwald.
Okay.
Because the Crimes of Grindelwald, at the end, they go a bit mental with showing you Nazis and concentration camps and this massive ball of fire and everyone's burning.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit tamer.
Okay. That's good.
But you do get to see some Thailand stuff from that kind of the world and stuff like that. But really, you can see my face. Like, do I care? Do I care?
I don't get the sense that you do.
No. And then you're going to ask the question, how will I rate it?
Yeah. What would you give it out of 7?
Do you know, we've seen a few films recently. So this month's been quite strong with sequels. And we've seen Morbius, Sonic, which we spoke about last week.
Yes.
And this.
Which is where I think I got the COVID from.
Yeah.
Cheers, Sonic.
And out of those 3, Sonic is still the best film.
Yeah.
It's the one I would rush back to go watch again because it's just fun. What did I give Sonic 4? I can't even remember.
You gave it 4, yeah.
Okay. I will give this a solid... It's so middle of the road, Rich. What's middle of the road here? 3?
3.5, isn't it? Middle of 7.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going 3.5. That's too nice. 3.
I thought you were going to say, I'm going to give it a solid 2. Like, oh.
There might be stuff for a second viewing, to be honest. It might age better.
Yeah.
But personally, it felt like a lot of people, even the people on screen, were kind of relieved when this one ended.
Right, okay.
There is a semi-tie-up.
Right.
Stuff does finish, but it also allows like, if you want more, there is. We can make more of these.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be on kind of how this one's received, maybe?
I don't know, because we're living in that part of the pandemic now where numbers aren't huge anymore. So
True.
this was never going to be a $1 billion franchise and like making film.
No.
If it scrapes together above 500, maybe, because marketed for this film must be insane. But like I said earlier, it must make money in so many other places.
I think the marketing budget is probably paid for by the action figures and, cloaks and wands and stuff that you can buy for it.
There's literally Harry Potter everything.
Oh, God, there's so...
I went to the Harry Potter thing in London with all the pictures and some of the...
Oh, yeah.
Not the Leavesden one, the thing in Covent Garden. Really interesting, really good. All the behind-the-scenes stuff, amazing, really well done. And then tacked on the end, there was a Fantastic Beasts bit. Yeah. And I was just like, I could not give a shit about this section.
And I think that's a metaphor for the whole thing, right?
I'm not here. I'm here to see the really, I think that's a magical world that she has created. I don't want to give her too many props, but the details of the stuff that she did, and not just her actually, the filmmakers, like the design teams, the costumes, the sets are incredible. And then I got to the Fantastic Beasts, and I thought, I literally was there for a minute. I thought, oh, okay, let's go and drink some butterbeer. Which I quite enjoyed.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair enough. Anything else you want to tell us about Fantastic Beasts?
Wasn't that fantastic? Didn't have enough beasts.
Wow. That's a comment for the poster.
And really, it should have focused, if it was focused on the beasts and where to find them, and there's just films traveling the world capturing Fantastic Beasts and learning about that kind of thing, then I think it would have been better.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Yeah. Cool.
And
right. Well, thanks for that, Dave. And
you're welcome.
You're going to do my job then, and tell us all about what people can do to follow the podcast.
I will do the outro. You can, So if you liked what you heard on this podcast, normally there's 2 of us reviewing or talking about the sequel.
Sorry.
Rich might see it, and we'll hear what he thinks next week in our monthly roundup.
Rich might not see it.
Rich might not see it. We will find out next week.
I might. I don't know. It depends when I'm feeling better and how insane work is.
Yeah. There is a couple of films I want to see which aren't sequels, so hopefully I get to talk about. And there are also some exciting sequel news that has popped up, and I thought, I can't wait to talk about that with Rich. Anyway, if you like what we heard, we are on the internet. Our socials on Twitter and Instagram are @Unequal Sequel. You can contact us, tell us how great we are on them. We've also got an email if you, for some reason, want to send an email to us. I got mocked for having an email the other day.
You didn't get mocked for having an email. You got mocked for having a Hotmail.
Is that still not cool, kids?
No, because that's like off of the 90s.
Damn it. Which is unequalsequel@hotmail.com. You can also review us, rate us, subscribe on many places that do podcasts like Apple or Spotify or Acast. We're pretty much on all of them.
Yeah.
So feel free to get in contact and tell us how much you like us.
Nice.
When you listen to this, we'll only be a few days away from season 3 of our actual proper episodes.
Ooh, exciting.
Exciting. There will be 12 episodes, hopefully, of us asking really brilliant guests what their best sequel is, their worst sequel, and their dream sequel. And this is what we do best, basically. So thank you for listening to this if you have been listening to this, but the good stuff is on its way.
I love that is what we do best, because that's the one where we talk a lot less and we let someone else talk who's far more interesting than we are.
Oh, I love listening to them, yeah. I've got nothing else to say. Rich, you got anything else to say?
No, that's it from me, mate. So, thank you everyone for listening. And it's a goodbye from me. Bye-bye. And it's a goodbye from him. Bye! Thanks very much. See you later.
He waved. Don't know who he's waving at.
Of course I waved. I always wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good.
Bye.